Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Happy and AAA Nerchio here on Neo Enigma. We have Happy spawning as the yellow Terran player on the top left hand side of the map, Nerchio spawning on the bottom right hand side of the map as the red Zerg, and this is going to be a cross spawn here on Neo Enigma. I have cast a game here before, so I'm not going to try to talk too much about the game, but or talk too much about this particular map. There is a low ground expansion, very close, very nice for Zerg players. There are two entrances inside to your base, a very wide open ramp. It needs about 3 force fields, or I would assume about 4 buildings, 4 3x3 buildings in order to wall off. Very difficult to wall off. Meanwhile, there is also another set of destructible rocks over here that leads to a high ground expansion once more, and then an even wider ramp. I would call this what, a six racks, or yeah, 6 racks ramp. So after your main initial base, it is very easy to get harassed. There is also a nice expansion over here. There is only 5 mineral expansion, or 5 high yield minerals, so it does not return the same amount of resources per minute, say as an 8 mineral expansion or your standard 6 mineral gold expansion. You can see Happy now coming into play. He is going to be just training up more and more SCVs. He did go for that standard racks and go for a 13 refinery. We are also seeing, a hatchery here at the what I'll call the 4 o'clock expansion location. Here, as a drone now is going to make its way out and start scouting counterclockwise. This overlord going to come into position over here, quickly see that his opponent is not there, and then we'll see where he decides to park it. There is, you must remember, there is a high ground cliff here, and there's also another high ground cliff here. So both third bases have the ability to be cliffed here on Neo Enigma. Siege tanks, Thors deal a lot of damage, and that's one of the reasons why your third base expansion is not as well protected as your natural expansion. Your natural expansion, very close to your ramp. You can get a spine crawler easily. Spine crawler here protects both your main ramp location here and also some of your drones on the far side. Overlord still making its way out as a Marine. Oh, a Marine has not been trained yet. So adding a quick a reactor first, and now also going into a factory. So you can see that the drone is just sitting off in this position, and now is it going to try to hurry away? It does not look like it. So it was a factory before a supply depot, and now going to try to establish a lot of early Hellion play. This one particular drone has been able to deal a lot of harassment so far, and oh, delaying the landing of that factory for just a moment, and perhaps that will buy him precious time in order to get a spine crawler or some roach warrens. One spine crawler is ready. The roach warren does build relatively quickly, as the SCV now just wandering back around. Is that queen going to be able to get some damage? It looks like it will be able to, and spawn larva here. No queen at the natural base just quite yet. So this is going to be an issue for Nerchio. Nerchio is not mining that much gas, only 1 drone on gas at this stage. Is he going to have enough roaches to fend off these Hellions? The Hellions looking to get some damage already, as a Marine trying to scout out and see if there's an overlord inside the base. The 1 spine crawler is up, so that delay in the factory was just enough, as the queen now coming in over here, getting some damage onto those Hellions, and it looks like the Hellions are just out of combat range. The queen trying to get some more damage once again, as now that spine crawler going to move closer to that ramp, rooting itself right on the ramp. Spine crawlers have 300 hit points, but also have a base 2 armor, so that's why it can absorb so much damage from early Marines and zealots and Zerglings. We are now sitting at 1 factory play, and we are now going into more Raxes and another factory here. So I'm curious as to what exactly Happy is trying to go for. He is researching stim, but he does not have a tech lab on his factory, so he's not going for siege tech just quite yet. We do see 4 Hellions on the low ground, but it is pretty well protected, as there is currently 2 roaches, or 3 roaches, one hiding off over here as well. In addition to that spine crawler, able to deal 25 damage per attack. The roaches also able to deal, I believe, 16 damage per attack as well. Not quite as much damage, as those roaches are actually going to be able to torch down and finish off No. Unable to do so. That one roach was at 44 hit points, and it looked like it may have gotten taken down. You can see now, finally, a tech lab, another tech lab being added on over here. So are we going to get the combat shield? Is this going to be, yeah, it's going to be combat shield and a very, very heavy stim push coming in from Happy. So Happy, utilizing a stim push, and doesn't have any medevacs yet, and doesn't have any starports yet, so no medevacs anytime soon, as a Marine is just on patrol trying to make sure that Nerchio is not able to see this 3 racks production. More Marauders are being trained, Marines being trained as well. Combat shield is being researched with no engineering bay for weapons upgrade, as Marauders and Marines still being funneled out. So this is going to be a 3 racks stim push in just a little bit, as the Hellions dealing a lot of containment here on Neo Enigma. Overlord now just making its way out over here. Nerchio is probably just turning over, not quite. Did I just accidentally hit B? Yes, I did. Alright, back over here. Nerchio trying to figure out what's currently happening inside. He does see that there is a lot of Raxes, so he needs to get a lot of defense. He knows that something is up. Perhaps Banelings, perhaps more roaches, as that one Hellion once again trying to walk up that ramp, and you can see the discrepancy in the army sizes. 525 versus 1425, as the Hellion now wandering around the far corner and perhaps trying to get some damage onto the destructible rocks over here, but the rocks are actually being destroyed by Nerchio, and Nerchio may not realize that he's opening up a much more dangerous opportunity for his opponent to get inside his base. I guess the roaches could sit up on this ramp though and rain acid from above in order to make sure that those that damage is not dealt. And now you see the main army movement taking place. Marines and Marauders, production-wise, units are still being added. The infestation pick going to be a little bit late, or very much late, as infestors take some time to build. Roaches are now trying to squirm out and trying to get some damage over here. The Hellions are going to back off, and now in come Marines and Marauders, and wow, with that stim pack at just the right time, just raining damage onto the back of those roaches, and Nerchio getting caught completely off guard and surprised there. The roaches are now trying to fight back even further, and drones coming off the mineral line to fight. Zerglings are going to be able to come in and perhaps clean up the rest of this over here, as Nerchio just absolutely surprised by this very, very strong stim push. Zerglings are now trying to come out as well, and more Zerglings will be funneling in. Drones coming off the mineral line, but Happy with a very effective just stim push, and you can see how much damage that Happy has taken already on this infantry army, but it doesn't really matter, as these units are just trying to stim pull back. The Marines are very, very smartly in the back of that group, trying to finish out the rest of those units there, and Nerchio losing a lot of the drones, but not enough damage was dealt. That is critical. Nerchio still sitting on 36 drones compared to 28. He was perhaps thinking that more damage could be dealt, but you saw Nerchio training up 20 Zerglings at one point, and that just bought him enough time to fend off that attack. The Marines didn't have a medevac to heal them, and that ultimately is what did him in. One Overlord down to 2 hit points does get shot down. The Marines did have combat shield, but no additional upgrades. Finally upgrading this command center to an orbital command, and now Happy needs to get more and more SCVs. He is significantly behind. Infestors now being added, in addition to pathogen glands being researched as well. So yeah, infestors taking 50 seconds to build, pathogen glands taking 80 seconds to research. So after that 30-second mark, you are fine. We also see that there is one medevac joining in on the group, and Happy now just going to try to continue this pressure with this very small group of Marines and Marauders. The Marauders obviously there to try to handle many of those roaches, and now the roaches are now battling out. Zerglings are also on the ground, as another unit getting taken down there, and this tightly group of units, and fungal growth missing the target, didn't hit the majority of that group there, but this one right on target, and now able to finish it off, but unfortunately he did not pull back with the infestor, and by not pulling back that infestor, he wasn't able to keep it alive. That Infestor could have stuck around. Infestors are a very expensive unit, a total of 250 resources, and you cannot just sacrifice your spellcaster units like that in a battle. Roach is now trying to make their way out in Infestor. You got to be very, very careful as it now desperately tries to run away. The Infestor does move fairly quickly, 2.5 even off of creep. And that slime trail, a very, very, very large indicator that there are Infestors in this army location here. A second Infestor now coming in, and we're going to get one fungal growth, two fungal growth now in. Happy just fighting the fungus. He's having a horrible shroom nightmare right now, just taking so much damage from the units. Another fungal growth could be coming in. Yeah, there you go. But the Infestor was destroyed, but the damage was dealt. And now you can see the losses. The losses are starting to Infestors too fragile. Yeah, Infestors are a very, very fragile unit. And since they are armored, if they weren't armored, they wouldn't go down to Marauders nearly as quickly. It's almost like, come on, Zerg, de-evolve, do not make your Infestor armored, and you would have a much, much better time. I don't even understand how an Infestor is armored. I can see the armor on that front part of it, but usually Infestors get shot in the back, so maybe armored in the front and unarmored in the back. Anyways, back over here, the Marines and Marauders are now going to perhaps try to push into this location. There is already a hatchery up over here, and this is going to get taken down. No, this is now going to get flanked out, as this is going to be very dangerous. Happy and trying to move in with Marines and Marauders. Zerglings are now starting to push in as well. Infestor is also coming in. Zerglings now trying to swarm around their target. Another round of stim pack coming in. The Infestors do have a decent amount of energy, but unable to catch up to those fast-moving units. And oh, the Medivacs were stimmed. Nicely done. If he can stim off another group of, or try to fungal growth another group of Medivacs and not allow them to really be able to go anywhere. There's another fungal growth there, killing off many of those units. And now, Happy losing a little bit more slowly but surely. And now Nerchio, I think, is clawing his way back, clawing his way back into a larger economic game. He does have this expansion over here. Army-wise, he is now about even. There's only a 300 resource difference between the two armies. So Nerchio is definitely getting a lot of mileage out of these Infestors. And the Infestors, some of them have about 5 kills. Production-wise, more are being trained. We are getting the level 2 melee attack, more ground armor upgrades, and another hatchery being built, as Nerchio has been training up a lot of Zerglings, and he really needs that additional larva in order to pump out roaches and Zerglings. Ghost now on the move, and the Ghost with EMP Shockwave going to be the counter. We are getting an Overseer Cocoon just in case those Ghosts do have Cloak. One Marauder now trying to make its way up that ramp, and it looks like it is going to get picked apart just a little bit, and now a Scanner Sweep revealing absolutely the majority of the army here. The Infestor now trying to run to the backside, and oh, EMP Shockwave. And now, are we going to get Fungal Growth though? Yes, another Fungal Growth hitting off the majority of those units again. And now Nerchio just completely cleaning up this army. Wow, so the resources lost are just getting closer and closer as fungal growths are just starting to chain in. Queen comes in and finishes off the Medivacs. Beautifully done. That was the one thing that was missing by Nerchio, the ability to shoot down a Medivac that was fungal growth and unable to move. But by using Queens instead of Hydralisks, the battle was close enough. And now the resources are just getting closer and closer. Army-wise, 2,800 versus 2,000 as the Zerglings are now trying to swarm forward. We are getting a planetary fortress at the high-yield gold mineral location as the Roaches now try to make their way in. And oh, EMP Shockwave depleting all the energy on those Infestors. Infestors have to cry all the way home. But many of those Roaches now are finishing off that ground army. And you can see the 24-25 versus 850 once again. And now Nerchio with such a stronger army, looks like he can just attack, move into the main base, take down a majority of the buildings, take down those expensive reactors, and this is not going to be a good sight. Happy in trouble. Happy, who had originally taken a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 series, it now seems to be in trouble, and there's the GG. So Happy losing this game to Nerchio here on Neo Enigma. He had a 0-2 lead in a best of 5 series, but Nerchio literally clawed his way back with Zerglings and Roaches, and that very, very important addition of those Infestors. Those Infestors were the hero and the MVP of Game 5. And Happy just unable to deal with it. As soon as he started to invest in those Ghosts, Ghost obviously counters those Infestors, but as soon as that EMP Shockwave went off, those Infestors, those Ghosts essentially couldn't really do all that much. They are not strong against Roaches, and against a swarming number of Zerglings, they just fall apart as well. So that Ghost is essentially only good for an EMP Shockwave, and as useful as it is, it just wasn't enough. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Happy and Nerchio here on Neo Enigma, Game 5 in this exciting Best of 5 series. I am casting more games right now, trying to ramp up, trying to train myself in order to cast up or cast the upcoming Clan Wars that I will be hosting on my channel. If you guys haven't done so already, check out the announcement video. It's currently up on my YouTube channel. I will be trying to organize the game so that it's easy for you guys to keep track of. I have a couple ideas in place, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the upcoming tournament. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and Best of 5 series between Happy and Nerchio.